Okay, back to Kibbutz Avayim. The last thing we learned, that if a son wants to go away to learn Torah and the father doesn't want him to, he's allowed to go away to learn Torah. That, by the way, we learn out from Yaakov Avinu when he went away from Yitzchak's house. So for 21 years he was punished. But the 14 years that he was in the yeshiva, Shem ve'Ever, so then he wasn't punished because learning Torah, it didn't apply the Aveda of not having Kibbutz Avayim. Okay, we also learned about marriage. Okay, if a child wants to marry somebody, the father doesn't, the mother doesn't. It's too good to take their opinions into consideration. Bottom line is, he doesn't have to listen to them. Both.
I mean, if the daughter...
Both. Poskim right, no view, the others right, no difference, son or daughter. Again, ideally, they should listen to the parents, take into consideration. Some poskim hold, it's interesting, what's the reason why they don't have to listen to the parents? Because it's their physical body affected by that. So that comes before the parents. But there are poskim, a lot of poskim disagree with it. There are poskim that say that if the shidduch will cause parents embarrassment, bizoyen, so then some poskim write, then he's not allowed to marry that other person, because you can only take away the kavod, you can't take away the bizoyen, and that tar of the body doesn't give you a right to embarrass them. But even then, the Birkei Yosef holds that even then you could you don't have to listen.
They need the blessing of parents.
Halachically, they don't. No. Conceptually, in concept, yeah, usually the parents know better, and the kids are, madly or whatever. But push comes to shove, they don't need their permission. Huh? No. The Rav would have to decide. There are many times there was issues. There were issues with shidduchim that was involved many years ago. That before Gimel Tammuz, way before Gimel Tammuz, in fact. There was a family, the man wanted to marry the woman, and the parents were upset with it, whatever, and the whole thing. And he wrote into the Rebbe said to ask her off, because that's what it said in Shulchan Aruch. And the Rav told them they couldn't get married. So, in fact, and then I was involved in the whole story, so some of us that were locals disagreed with the Rav. It wasn't a good idea. Anyway, they got married, they got divorced, typical stuff. But so I was talking to him, I said, what is this? He says, he wants to know halacha, you can marry, he doesn't have to ask the parents. But that's not the proper thing to do. Okay, now if somebody hits a parent, yeah.
If one of the children is going to get married to a non-Jew, the parents have an obligation to get involved?
To?
Get involved?
If they can, yeah. If they can, they should. Okay, that's a whole different story. That's a whole different parsha. The difference between yesteryear and today. Years ago in Europe, in early America, if somebody, God forbid, married out of the religion, so to speak, the family sat Shiva. The son, in their opinion, was dead. They had nothing to do with them. That's it. Finished. The son died, or the daughter died. That's it. Today, it's not done like that. Poskim right today, you don't do it. You have to be mekad of them, but there's a lot of very delicate. I'm dealing with a bunch of issues like that now. Well, what do you do? What do you accept? What don't you accept? Then they have a kid, and the kid's not Jewish. What do you do? I mean, it's tons of. So what? Oh, okay. Next, you're not allowed to embarrass a parent, even, but a reason just indirectly embarrassing them. And if you do, the pasuk says you're cursed from Hashem. Okay. So now there's another interesting thing. There's a practical thing. We know the Torah says, "Maka ava v'imei meisumas." If a child hits the parent, it's capital punishment. That's only, the Gemara says, if you cause him to bleed. So in other words, if a child makes a parent bleed, then they're chayiv misa. So therefore, the shaila is, if a parent, let's say, has a splinter, can the son take out the splinter? Because he might cause the parent to bleed. Okay? So, in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, it says that if there was a splinter by the father and mother, the son is not allowed to take it out. Why? He might cause him to bleed, and it's capital punishment. Or the same thing, Kitzur, I'm talking about Kitzur says, and we'll discuss the other poskim. Then Kitzur says, the same thing if a child's a doctor, he shouldn't treat the parent, he shouldn't do bloodletting, because that's mamish causing blood. Huh?
Capital punishment then?
Makar v'vim. 1 second, let's say what Kitzur says. And then we'll discuss the side dinner. So, or to do surgery on a parent. B'chal, even in medical ethics, a child is not supposed to do surgery on a parent because there won't be objective in it, whatever. Now, Kitzur says, huh?
Or inject the Botox.
Yeah. No, so it says, what happens if there's no other doctor around and the parents are in pain? So then he's allowed to do it. That's what the Kitzur says. So the poskim discuss, like the Aruch HaShulchan says, what happens if there's another doctor around to do it, but the father or the mother want the son to do it? They're more comfortable with the son doing it. Or let's say a parent needs to get a shot. Now sometimes shots bleed, sometimes they don't bleed. Okay, but there are times it could bleed, right? Sometimes it bleeds. And if the father would have to go to the doctor to take the shot, it's a hassle. That has to get in the car and drive him, and then it's a whole hassle. And like this, the son comes to the house calls, like they used to do, and he does it. So then the poskim write that if the parent wants the child to do it, it's like there's nobody else to do it. And then they are allowed to do it. But the marshal, they bring down about the shots in Eretz Yisrael, the Rabbanim HaMekel, and another thing they say, that if, let's say, another doctor will charge them, and the son probably charge them double. The son won't charge them, then it's also like nobody else. So
it says hamakir. If someone hits his parents,
you give somebody a shot. That's a makkah.
That's not hit.
Sure it is. Makkah.
Taking out a splinter
1 second.
or giving a shot.
What does makkah mean? Makes a wound. That's the definition. Makkah doesn't mean only hit. Makkah of a means if you make a wound. What?
Intentionally, maybe.
Yeah, but when you give a shot, it doesn't matter. You give a shot, you're taking out a splinter, you're causing them to bleed.
Typical word is habit, right?
The what?
Habiting somebody. Habiting. You're hitting somebody.
Makkah.
What is the translation in English exactly?
Hit, I guess. But it also, makkah means a wound.
That's Kabbalah.
Huh?
That's Kabbalah.
No.
But if he's trying to help his parent by doing that, why would he?
So again, the poskim, right, Aruch HaShulchan and others bring down that if the parents want the kid to do it, then he's allowed to do it. Or if the parents are in pain and by the time you get somebody, it'll take a long time, so then you could do it.
Makov precludes, it must be blood, meaning that it's
You chayiv misa if there's blood.
if there is no blood,
Then you're not
only-
chayiv misa, but that doesn't mean you can keep hitting them.
Exactly, there's a-
It's still rabbinically forbidden, not Torah forbidden.
I think what it means is if the parents get black and blue mark, which is bleeding under the skin.
right.
So you're not chayiv misa, but you still shouldn't be hitting a parent. I mean, you shouldn't be hitting anybody.
How does the Gemara learn that it has to be bleeding?
So, from Halacha Mishum Sinai. It's only makkah shesh b'dam. What?
Let's say, for instance, tennis with a parent, and then they fall. Like, is that?
That's not, you didn't do it. What happens if by mistake, though, you're banging a nail and then you bang by mistake. Mistake is mistake. We're not talking about that. We're talking about you're not giving him a shot accidentally. You're giving him a shot because you want to give him a shot. Okay, even if a parent becomes deranged, means no meshuggah, so they should do the best they can to try to take care of them if not. Now, if they're not able to deal with it, then Halacha says you have a right to put them and have somebody else take care of them. In other words, in today's thing, to put them into institution, to put them into a facility, if they're not able to take care of them, so then they could do it.
Alzheimer's or something.
Yeah, all these things. Sometimes it's impossible for a child to take care of a parent. You know, you have also issues involved, like we were discussing the other day, shalom bayis. If one of the father or the husband or the wife are going to be busy a whole day with the parent and it will affect shalom bayis, then halachically you don't have to. You have to, take care of, make sure they have treatment and things, but you don't have to do it yourself. Now, another thing, halacha says that's for the parents. It says, don't burden your kids too much. You know, don't make it difficult for them to do the mitzvah of kibbud av v'eim. And like we know, the halacha is a father who is meichel on his kavod, father who forgives the respect for the child, so then it's considered forgiven. Moshe, there's a din we learned in Hilchos Pesach. You know, you have to recline by the Seder. So it says in halacha that a child in the presence of the father reclines. A student in the presence of his Rabbi does not recline unless if the Rabbi gives him permission. So it says in halacha, what's the difference? You have to have respect for your parents also. Why should a kid be allowed to recline? So Shulchan says, because we assume the parent allows them to do it.
So if the child makes the parent leave on purpose, like in the classroom, and the parent forgive, is it forgiven?
No, but that's a chiyuv bezdin. If they were warned, you know. Yeah, that you can't take.
You can't do that?
What?
The father cannot be mochel.
He could be meichel his cover. He can be meichel bezdin's killing the guy.
Now that there's no base thing, is it Chayyim Chasron like...
Yeah, there is Chayyim Misa, Chayyim Misa.
No, is it now Misa Dishman after that?
If they could do tshuva or malchus, whatever, then in order to be Chayyim Misa, you have to be warned, yeah. But even if you do it intentionally, you're not allowed to do it. Warning just to make sure you did it intentionally versus accidental. Okay, another din. You're not allowed to hit an older child. Why? Because this applies really today. You're not allowed, a parent is not allowed to hit a child because the kid will hit back. And then you're causing, and it says it doesn't mean, it's not depending on years. Like it says, as long as you're afraid, if you're afraid the kid's going to curse you, because you're not allowed to curse the parent either, or he's going to hit you, so then you're not supposed to hit them because then you're causing them to sin in this terrible way of cursing the parent or hitting back the parent. Okay, next. A person is obligated to honor his father's wife, even if it's not his mother, in other words, a stepmother, or a stepfather, as long as the parent is alive. Even afterwards, it says, oh, it's appropriate to respect them. But the chiyuv, the obligation, is a halachic obligation of kibbud av v'eim, because if your father married somebody, so then you have an obligation biblically to respect that person. You don't have to love them, you don't have to deal with them, but you have to, as long as the father is alive, because that's part of the mitzvah kibbud av v'eim. Yeah.
He's also part of an older sibling?
That's the next din. We're going to leave that for tomorrow because I don't want to get all the people here sinning. No, it's a machlekes if it's... It says in the Torah, kabit es avicha v'esimecha. So there's an extra s. The Torah says kabit avicha v'imecha. It says es avicha, so it includes. So some poskim hold it includes any older brother. Another poskim hold it includes only the oldest brother. Also, that we'll learn tomorrow. Okay.